Welcome to another Sunday WOAY ABC4 Community Forum, where we talk to community leaders and local success stories to discuss important information that affects Southern West Virginia. I'm your host, Brandy Lawrence. And as always, we have yet another distinguished guest with us. John Wyatt, the Appalachian, is here today. Thank you so much for joining us.
And thank you for inviting me back again.
Yes, definitely. Well, we were just talking, with a name like the Appalachian, I would say, you know a lot about West Virginia.
Well, I know some. I've lived here long enough to know a little bit about the state, and it's a great place to live. It's a wonderful place to live. Of all the states that I could think about in America, I don't think I'd want to live anywhere else but West Virginia. It's a great state.
Yeah, nothing like it.
We have our problems. We have many problems, but it's a wonderful place to live.
Definitely.
It really is.
Yeah, and that leads us into your ministry and the work that you all are doing to help us with these problems. Can you tell us more about that?
Well, I can. The moniker that I have, the Appalachian, it came about 20 years ago when I was fishing and enjoying an early spring day or two up in Pocahontas County, and I ran into this. I was approached, or somehow or another, this entity who called himself the Appalachian. Whether he was real or whether he was not real, that's kind of a yet to be known. But he dubbed me the Appalachian, and since that time, I've tried to promote the Appalachian values and cultures that we have here, not just in West Virginia, but throughout the several states that make up the Appalachian mountain ranges. But and at the time when I met this person, whatever he was called, I was also involved in a ministry. Prison ministry, a helps ministry, a Appalachian ministry, if you want to call it that, and we do a lot of things throughout Appalachia, throughout the state, throughout the region. And in the past, we were predominantly worked throughout the prison systems. And I was a chaplain at Denmark State Prison. I was chaplain for the Greenbrier County Sheriff's Department for 35 years. And so it's been, that's been a large part of what I've done throughout my ministry. But so many things have, of course, when you live as long as I have, a lot of things happen, but 6.5 years ago, we experienced the 1,000-year flood, which devastated the little community where I live in Raynell in western Greenbrier County. And not that we didn't have problems before that. There were a lot of problems within our community and within that region. We were at one time we were a thriving, just a great place to live and work. The coal mines were working. Meadow River Lumber Company was the dominant employer at the time, and employed hundreds and hundreds, perhaps thousands of people in the region. And then in 1970, the mill closed down, and so it was a real blow to that town, to the town where I live, but also to the region. Then the coal mining industry went on decline, and that was difficult. It was a difficult transition. And then in 1993, I believe, the interstate system completed the interstate from Sam Black to Beckley, and so our town was just bypassed. We live on U.S. Route 60, comes its main artery through our town, but it was also the Midland Trail, and so it was the only way to go east and west from through that portion of our state. And when the interstate system So I thought that is, that's another nail in the coffin, and it's going to be difficult to rise above that. But the Appalachian people of West Virginia, they're resilient, and so the progress that we made from the closing of the mill and the coal mine industry declining and the interstate, we were coming back to a degree. I mean, our town was, we weren't thriving, but we were more than surviving. We were going through a difficult period, but things were looking up. And then the flood of 2016, it was terrible. And part of the lasting effects of that flood is not that we've lost so many buildings and homes and businesses and things in our town, but the end result has been an enormous amount of drug activities and crime which has permeated the area. And so in our ministry, working predominantly with the prison ministry and people in the helps ministry with people who have problems with addiction and other things, we've done that for many, many years. But it just seemed like there was no light at the end of the tunnel. And I saw this documentary about a town in Kentucky, Manchester, Kentucky, and how they were in similar straits as what we were. The town itself was about the same population as Raynell, the little town where I live, and the people had just come to a point to where they didn't know what to do. Well, kind of like being a minister of the gospel too. When you don't know what to do, sometimes you just have to call on the Lord, and so that's what they began to do. They went across denominational lines. The Baptists and the Methodists and the Presbyterians and the different denominations got together and began to pray, and for several weeks they prayed and asked the Lord's help in turning their community and their county around. Manchester, which makes it a little different than Raynell, they were the county seat of Clay County, Kentucky. But in the process, to make a long story shorter, out of that county and the region of Manchester, 60-some churches got together and prayed and decided they would have that they'd have a march, just a march in Main Street, and to talk about how some of the things that they could do to change their community and change their region. And it was on a cold, blustery day, much like not quite as cold as what we experienced last week. And it was beginning to rain a little bit, and some of the promoters of the march, they thought, well, no one's going to show up. You know, it's going to be it's just not going to work. And about the time that the march was supposed to take place, over 4,000 people showed up and marched in a little town of 1,500 people of Manchester. 4,000 people came out, and from that, there was just a change that began to take place in the community of Manchester and the county of Clay County, and they changed the whole dynamics of that region. They eventually were able to build rehab centers, just do a tremendous amount. I mean, it's a great, if you've never seen it, it's a great documentary about that region, about Clay County. So we've been working, trying to do something similar to that, because we just come to the point to where we really have to do something. And so that's one of the things that we've been doing and working on. And in the process of trying to accomplish some things spiritually and for the Lord, the pandemic has not been a real friend to us either. I mean, it's been an enemy to all, I know. I work in the summer months and with a organization out of Johnson City, Tennessee. I say I work, I volunteer for them, but it's Appalachian Service Projects. And they work basically in about 5 states, 6 states, West Virginia, Kentucky, Virginia, North Carolina, Tennessee. And they do service work, and they help people, they help people have a warm place to live and a comfortable place to live. And through their efforts, Raynell, which was devastated, and Rupert and White Sulphur Springs and other communities in Greenbrier County, besides Nicholas and Fayette and others. But they have built, I don't know what the total number is, but around 100 new homes for people in that area. And it's just a tremendous organization, and I've been blessed to be a part of that through the years, for the last 18 years, 15, 18 years. And it's a, but anyway, they've really did yeoman's work in helping us and doing some of the things that helped our community. But, and I hate to use that word, there's a part of the region in western Greenbrier County and other places too. I'm singling out western Greenbrier because I live there. But many places where the opioid and Oxycontin and all the other drugs that have come in, they've just found a breeding ground, if you want to call it that, with a lot of empty houses that are vacant because of the flooding, and because the economy is just it's in the cellar. I mean, it's just really and so one of the things that we want to work on and try to do is to find a way to alleviate some of those problems.
Yeah, definitely. You're doing great work already, so we need somebody to help us out.
Thank you.
All right, and we will be right back with John Wyatt, the Appalachian, when we come back from break. Welcome back, and we are here with John Wyatt, the Appalachian, who's going to grace us with the song.
Yeah. Before the pandemic, before COVID hit us, I was working with ASP doing some culture nights and talking about the culture of Appalachia. And there was a young man from upstate New York, and he was planning on going to Ireland, and I was myself. My passport had ran out, and I was working on getting my passport so I could go that year of 2020 and go over and explore some of the roots of my family in Ireland. But the pandemic hit, and I received a letter from this young man, and that was the premise of this song that I'm going to sing. But it's just a sad part of what COVID has been to so many people around the world. Well, the year was 2020 when I turned 21, and I planned to go and see the world. Then the virus come. It came and took my grandpa and my mama too. This world will be a sadder place if I turn 22. You came and took my family. You came and took my dream. You came across the ocean, an enemy unseen. COVID-19 virus is what they now call you. This world will be a different place if I turn 22. You've shut down all our factories, shops, schools, and churches too. The pandemic, it's upon us, and we don't know what to do. Millions are without a job, we stand in bread lines too. This world will be a fearful place if I turn 22. But I remember Woody Guthrie and a song he used to sing. How we're all in this together, and we can beat this thing. We'll rise up from the ashes, this land is your land too. And we'll make this world a better place when I turn 22. This land is your land, this land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream water, this land was made for me and you. And even though we've had such a terrible, terrible time with the flood and the pandemic and all the other things, Appalachian people are resilient people, and we'll rise above this, and we will come out on the other side better. We have a ministry, it's called Philemon House Ministries, and with Philemon House Ministries, we work with a lot of people who are homeless or in addiction. We have NA and AA meetings that are performed or go on all the time, and at least 2 or 3 days in Raynell, in that area, Raynell and Rupert. But we have the prison ministries, Prisoners for Christ. We have the Appalachian ministry, which is basically that helps ministry with a food pantry and some other things that we do. And I know in past years, finding people to volunteer and to help and do so many of those essential things that are needed when people are hurting and people are just going through difficult times. That spirit of volunteerism and spirit of help and working, and it seems to be it's more difficult to find those individuals anymore. And a lot of them are my age and older, and they have passed on and went to their reward, and finding young people to take their place has been rather difficult. But I do know that the ministry we do is a vital ministry for the region where I live and the people that I work with. And some of the I've been going around to some of the churches and talking about what took place in Manchester, Kentucky, and Clay County, and how it just changed. I mean, it completely changed that region. The deaths from opioids and from drugs and fentanyl and all the other things that are out there, it just became almost non-existent there for several years. And in our small region where I'm from, we've seen 20, 25 deaths from ODs and from the drugs, and that's not, we just can't accept that. We can't. And so if there's a church or an organization, it doesn't have to be a church, it can be Lions Club, whatever club that you're a part of. If you'd like for me to come and talk about some of the things that we're doing or some of the things that we can do, we can't do it alone. It has to be a community support. It has to be more churches than just the Baptist churches in town. I'm a ordained Baptist minister, but we can't just rely on the Baptists or the Methodists or the Presbyterians or the Lutherans to do the job. We all have to work together on this. And just as I think Woody Guthrie, and that part of that song, he realized that the problems that he was facing or they were facing in his day, different from what we have now, but still similar. And so we have to work together. We cannot defeat this enemy that's facing us, this addiction, drug addiction, and alcoholism, and all the other things, and the end result of many of the things that have happened during the pandemic is the isolation of people and depression and all the things that come about because of that, which brings on some of the other problems such as addiction and problems that we're facing. So anyways, that's part of it. I'm just rattling on.
Oh no, you're great. You're great, because you're definitely right. It's going to take everybody here in West Virginia to really address this issue, and it's been an ongoing issue for years now. And
it sure has.
You're doing great work, with your ministry and things. And honestly, I wanted to know if you had another song for us.
I do. I have another song. If someone would like to contact me, they can.
Yes. If you could, give people your information, anybody wants to be involved.
They can contact me, just John Wyatt, Box 57, Raynell, West Virginia, 25962. Or you can, my telephone number, I'll give you my telephone number, as the 304-438-6047, or reach me by email at phmjw@yahoo.com, or I'm sure if you call the station here, they can give you my information.
Definitely.
Sure. Appalachia, it's changing, its people are too. The old ways are passing, we're embracing the new. But the mountain winds blow. and the mountain winds blow, and the mountain winds blow. Yes, the mountains are different, even they cannot last, but some things remain like a door to the past, and the mountain winds blow. Through the hills and the valleys, by the rivers and streams, her heartbeat is heard in the songs that we sing, and the mountain winds blow. And the mountain winds blow, and the mountain winds blow. From mother to daughter, from father to son, we pass on the mantle to those who will come, and the mountain winds blow. So let's play our music, let the hills ring a song, tell stories and dance while the ages roll on, and the mountain winds blow.
Wonderful. I could tell that was, Appalachian.
Appalachian.
So, yeah, could
Yes.
see pretty much my whole life here.
So you understand the trials and the tribulations we're going through in Appalachia.
Definitely.
And I know there's a lot of things that are available to help with projects, to help with whether it's feeding the hungry, whether it's I know during this terribly cold weather we had last week, the warming, the places, warming centers for people who are homeless. And there's homeless people are everywhere. I mean, they're all around us. Beckley, Raynell, Lewisburg. I mean, it doesn't matter where you're at. There's a lot of homeless people out there. And I heard the news this morning that over 40 people died in Buffalo from the cold spell, weather that they had, and terrible. And my guess is a lot of those were homeless people in that region.
Definitely. And just one more time, could you give, the people at home, your information, so anybody that, wants to get involved, any young people especially, can, contact you.
Exactly.
And,
You can just write to me, contact me at John Wyatt, P.O. Box 57, Raynell, West Virginia, 25962. Or you can call me, my home phone, 304-438-6047, or email me at phm, that's phmjw@earthlink.net.
thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting me today.
Yeah.